Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of World of Tanks Console Edition. I'm your host, TedTokez. And we only got 2 matches in this episode. Alright, but they're 2 pretty good matches. As you can see, I push up there to that front line as usual. We get a deflected shot attempt. There we go, we get some deflection. May have or may not have gotten points for it, I don't know. There's some more misses, you can see the enemies trying to get us. But we have position of cover, you know. Now we're going out into a little more exposed area. They're still missing. We bridge this gap to the left side. Try and take the middle of the map because we can see that we're going to get most of the attention from the enemies without any support if we took that north side of the 5-6 lines. So after we push down here to the south, we bridge that gap. And okay, well, if I wouldn't have crashed right there into a piece of stone, I would have climbed that and we'd be on our way to be able to push that south side while all those players there sit up on that hill and try to get free points. If we do it properly and do it effectively, you know, me and that 1 to 2 tanks over there right now could get most of the points. Overwatch would literally have to scratch and claw for any of the even supportive shots. But that's how it would go if you actually put pressure on the enemies. Now you see how that heavy in the K line very west is trying to put pressure on them up on the top of that hill. Now the only way that works for Overwatch is if they peek over that out of them buildings. You know, if they can be seen from across the other side, that's the only way that Overwatch works. So if that heavy pushes the hill, it's over there by itself, kind of like I am right now against these two. If the heavy doesn't push, then the heavy just gets picked away by the quick peek and pop ass, let me peek out for a shot and then pull back into cover before the Overwatch's bullet even has the time to travel across the field, right? So there's really 2 options there. Both of them, that frontline player likely dies, right? So it's not a matter of that player going out there and dying. It's a matter of all those players in the 9 line failing to participate. Nice little back and forth here. We could have talked our way through it to give you guys some details on how and why it was a good battle, what was going on exactly. However, I wanted to get that out of the way, you know. First match, let's just let it be known that there's still a big participation issue. You got people that want to be known as good who aren't good, but they know how to, like, you know, scam points to make it look like they're good, even though they didn't earn any of the points that they have just about. I'm surprised that one didn't go in. It's alright though, we finished him. Alright, now we rotate back in. Little handbrake to make that turn without hitting that stone foundation on the ground, or stone formation on the ground. And now we push this gap. We're going to take this front line because now the 9 line is so occupied with north and 1 medium that they're not going to do anything to these 3-4 tanks, so we have to do something to them, or else they're going to do something to us as they have the time to. So we want to take that time of possibility away from them. Every time they get now look, that tank's still alive that I shot. I gotta throw a smoke because it has time to reload and shoot me again, right? Now it's gonna come through that smoke probably. Look, right side, I'm gonna get a shot right here. Boom, we gotta worry about that guy on the left still, but he threw a smoke to cover himself, so we got this fight by ourselves right now. Boom, that one's gone. Now we rotate back to that guy that was west of us, right there by that smoke. Boom, there he is. Little bounce off. And we'll give him the can of cram. We'll take us both out, but guess what? We just took 2 out in those last 30 seconds. Right? That was a lot of 9 line Overwatch activity being, you know, the actual impact makers, wasn't it? Okay. We fast forward this because we don't want to have to watch you guys watch. You know what I mean? They should have been doing this 2 minutes ago. The fact that they're just now, 5 minutes into the game, pushing from the 9 line to go find enemies, that shows you that they're scared to take on the enemies until it's time to either clean up Dog Pal and or Alamo. Decent match though, if you ask me, not one that I just went out there and died, but one that I went out there and I genuinely participated. Taking on chance, like you saw the positioning of my approachability was not ideal. A lesser tanker would have probably died. Myself may have even died. Myself may have even failed or been destroyed at that point because, it was pretty open, uncover transition, like when I changed positions from that north to the south. All right, here we go though. Next match, now that it's breaking into battle, we're going to start talking about it. We went up here to the south part of the front line. As you can see, most of the tanks are still in the 9 and 0 lines. You only have 2 tanks plus me pushing this actual south push, right? 2 tanks up top, 1 tank down low, the rest of them on the corner, and then you have that 1 heavy, or that 1 medium behind the heavy down south more. Proceeded to go past that corner. Now, they're not exactly helping still, but, they are in a position to where if those players in the 9 line wanted to make a capitalistic participation attempt somewhere, then they could have, right? But as you can see, you still have light tanks sitting at the, you know what I mean? Like this is stuff that wouldn't happen if these people actually knew how to play the game or wanted to play the game actually. You would not have light tanks back here, not even scouting, probably not even getting damage that they earn, Like, it's really not that difficult. I'm sitting here in between, like, one of the closest to the enemies every game. And you see how I outdo them as the first one dead. And the only reason I get first or 15th in these rewards boards is because the impact either was the impact that was made and I died making the impact, or the impact that was made was a by default impact that took them so long to fucking do that my impact that was a genuine impact, not just damage points gotten because of somebody else, but a genuine impact, it's irrelevant because, what I did in the first 2 to 3 minutes doesn't matter to the 4 to 5 minute time span when all they did was the same thing they were doing in the first 2 to 3 minutes and I did something on my own. Obviously my impact would not make as much of an impact, right? However, it's still to me more of an impact than people sitting back overwatching like this. You see that K2 area? You see how not one tank is really progressing that enemy tank? There's 5 of them. You see how long it took them to get there? Okay, that's not good player tactics. That's not good players' performance, right? Those are players who get by defaults probably, and they likely are. They're likely the same players that have been playing for by defaults back there in the 9 line before we even start. Before we even successfully pushed all the way to the 5 line in the southeast line. Auto lock's not working. You can hear me clicking away at it. Looking for a little cheap shot. Don't seem to be getting one. There you go. Oh, there you go. We got a nice cheap shot there. I call it a cheap shot because it's not a cheating shot. It's just a cheap shot. Like, they're cheating shots. Their Overwatch cheap shots aren't cheap shots. Those are cheating shots, exploitive shots. I'm just using an auto lock feature and sending a shell rather than manually aiming it, right? That's a cheap shot, right? Okay, glad we got that figured out. Alright, let's see if I survive this. Sounds like the missile was already used. Boom! Tearing them up, tearing them up. I might not even get there. There's another missile. Oh, looks like I was getting targeted for a second, but not so much now. Means we can kind of work our way into this if we can. Tucks behind them boulders, so we can't really get a shot, but we do right there, and then the team finishes them off. And that's really how easy it is when you have genuine participants, whether it's one tank or 4 teammates versus 4 tanks. It really is that easy when you genuinely participate. Yeah, you're not going to win them all when you're all participating, but if you're all not participating, I guarantee you lose a lot more than you would have if you just participated. That's it for this episode. Thank you all. I hope you enjoy. I appreciate yous.